Hey, hello. How are you today? I took a nap because I got like no sleep last night and I laid down at I thought it was 4:30. My husband said, "I've talked to you since then." I talked to him last at 5:30. And I laid down. I'd been, laying down on and off, whatever, just chilling with the dogs, and somehow I fell asleep. So I forgot to do Trauma Tuesday, so it's gonna be Thursday now. Um, I got up and was like, "Okay, cool." So I fed the dogs, got them, eating whatnot. And now here I am, and I'm still a little bleary eyed, but hey. Um, so Phew. As you can see, I don't have the headset. I did not want to fool with it today. I'll fool with it another day. I'm not feeling it right now. But I'll get it fixed. So oh my lord, that's not good, Steffi. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure that would be a lot of emotions. I'm sure that'd be a lot. That's awful. I'm sorry. Um, oh lord. Well, I mean, they do have got lots of treatments. I mean, you know, 30 years ago it would definitely be whatever, but I mean, have hope. One thing that they found, they've done studies where positivity actually does help heal cells, which I don't know what that says about whatever, but the more positive you are, it really actually can help boost things. Yeah, I saw there was some weather up by you, Audra. I saw that on the weather. It said that it was supposed to, it's supposed to be 90, 95, close to 100 here, and not rain, but it was doing these weird little thunders. There was a little tiny storm that came kind of underneath me to the east a little bit, and never actually hit here. I don't think it ever actually rained, but you could hear some rumbles off in the distance. So it did stay, but I pinned it. There we go. Oh, Sissy's fine. Sissy's always fine. She's always good. The heat is wild, definitely. It's real hot. I went out today. I kept the car and I took him to work, and I took myself out to grab some lunch and some chocolate because I think I'm gonna let him take the car the next 2 days, and I haven't had any chocolate for like a day or two. So I stopped and grabbed a couple candy bars, and the girl looks at me. She goes, "You got a sweet tooth?" I said, "No." I said I get king size candy bars and I eat half of it a day. She was like, "That's a really good idea." I was like, "Yeah, it's cheaper than buying full size candy bars." So, um, but Yoda is just absolutely adoring her new food. She is absolutely loving her new food. She just plowed through her whole meal today. Like she does really good. She eats her food. I mean, but like she scarfs it down now. Like score bars. I don't even know what that is. Audra, that's what I'm talking about, honey. She's doing pretty well. Her hair, we got her on this really expensive shampoo, and her skin is looking better. Her skin's looking a lot better. Her hair's coming in better. She's not plummeting in weight anymore. I don't know if she's gained any, but she is not losing, and that's like an important thing. Um, I don't know what Mellow Puffs is. Are those like that we have? I think we may have something like that here. We have like in like the marshmallow area. They have marshmallows that like have. stuff around them. But yeah, I went out and grab some lunch because I think I'm gonna have him keep the car the next 2 days. I don't know. It's gonna be rainy, whatever. I'm not gonna want to drive anywhere. So right, Randella. Um well, husband said that you liked the Chimera bear, so I went and bought you one. We snagged most of those from the Guild Bank. If you go over to where the Guild Bank is, there's this thing where it says items in that first tab. There's some minions. We snagged a couple out of there, and then I know you like the Chimera bear, so I went and bought you one. I love that. I love that little Chimera bear. I keep him out sometimes. He reminds me of my voodoo doll tattoo. No, Kimberly, I've seen it. Yeah, so if you go over to like the Guild Bank, you can actually access some more. Hey, stop. Knock it off. You want down? You want down, don't you? Here. I'm gonna hold you. Come here. Here, I'll hold you. All right. So, your dog has incontinence. We have a vet appointment on Friday. Well, hopefully everything happens okay on Friday. Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. Um, I've been eating popcorn. So I was joking around, and my friends in my little Facebook group, I was talking about Amazon wish lists and about how I used to have one, and maybe I should put one up again or whatever. And they said to do it, and I was like, you know what? Everybody's doing their Amazon shopping day or whatever. I said I want to shop. I said so I'm gonna go window shop. I'll make a new wish list or whatever. And I realized number one, I took 20 things off of it, stuff for the Ren Fair, etc. And it brought it down to like 2 items. And I realized that there's not a lot I want in life. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, basically, the only things I really have on there is like bath stuff, wax melts, and snacks for the most part. I mean, there's still a random this, a random that, but I noticed that like most of the things that I buy is either bath stuff or wax melts and snacks. I don't, I don't, I don't need a lot. Okay, so I cannot eat Grippo's barbecue chips. I love barbecue chips. I don't know what Grippo's does to me, but it does something to me back here, and I can't eat them. I can't eat them. Well, I got everybody like the whole Facebook group is going on and on. They're all shopping for Prime Day, and I'm like, I want to shop. I ain't got no money. I don't know if we're getting our allowance this week. There's still a small chance we may not be going to the fair because I don't know what's going on with this check. But as it stands, we're 95% sure we're going. But if we do, we're probably not getting allowance. So I'm trying to hold on to my allowance until I get paid next. So I was like, well, no problem for me. But 16-year-old is peeing all over the house. Honey, she's 16. Or he's 16. They're 16. That's gonna happen. I mean, invest in a mop. I mean, that's what happens. That they're old. You can do diapers, pee pads. There's not really a whole lot they're gonna really be able to do. Um, there's yeah. I mean, They're old. There's nothing you're gonna do. You're not gonna have thousands on a surgery to help fix something that's gonna fail anyway. Oh, you sent me some snacks. I like snacks. I realized like I'm down to like 2 bags of popcorn because I bought myself popcorn as a snack this week. And I saw the popcorn salt sitting right there. Yeah, I realized I'm like, dude, like I think the most expensive item on the wish list, I think, is like I do have a webcam on there. Because I plan on getting it for myself here in the next maybe 2-3 weeks. Um, is like 18 bucks. Like I realize I am cheap. Like the poor gene hit me. I am cheap. I am cheap. Um, so Miss is just is not too far from me actually. Um, but um, yeah. So I did while I was looking though. I found that they have a Dr. Teal's that I want to try. So I'm gonna probably try that here in the next couple weeks. Every now and then Dr. Teal's comes out with a new salt or whatever, and sometimes like my town doesn't get them immediately, and they have it on there, so I'm thinking about grabbing that soon. And turns out my author, the one that I've been slowly reading the book, she's put out 2 since then. Did not know that. Did not know that. Well, Vanessa, I mean, that's unfortunately, that is a sad reality of having pets. Yoda, we've taught her to go in a certain spot in the bathroom, and we just have to do what we have to do. She can't make it all the way down, even down the ramp to get outside, and I'm not going to manhandle her. So, we have puppy pads and things like that that we use. Um, and luckily my floors are all moppable, which helps. But, that is unfortunately something that just happens when dogs get older. I mean, there's nothing really you can do. Yes, Randella, I am. I got the book last August. I got it a little bit late, and I guess she put one out, I think like September, I think. And then she put another one out just in May. Just in May. So yeah, I'm too behind. I'm too behind. Today I had time. I had time today. And I tried to watch TV, that didn't work. I laid with my dogs. I accidentally fell asleep. Didn't even play my game yet. I used to read a book. I used to read a book a night. I'm gonna finish this book. It's a good book. It's just y'all like my ADHD. I don't take my ADHD meds. I'm all over the place. Hey, knock it off. No, look, you both can't. Sissy can't even lay in her bed because you two are in it. I hate Audible. I hate audiobooks. Yeah, I'm always on here with you guys. Who has time to read? I sleep and I work. And I hang out with my doggos. And then sometimes I play my game. I did. I actually put on TV today. It lasted 15 minutes and I went out to get lunch. Yeah, I just don't have the attention span. Like I put on an episode of Ink Master the other day. I got myself some pizza and I sat down. I was going to watch Ink Master, and about 15 minutes in, scrolling everywhere. Um my husband listens to Audible at night. I I cannot. His audiobooks literally do something to me that make me angry. I can't handle audiobooks. I hate being talked at. I don't know how you guys watch me, honestly. I really, really don't. I can't stand being talked at. Yeah, Rendell. I think that's what happened to all of us. TikTok ruined all of us. If we don't get our information in 30 seconds, we lose our mind. I did not watch Monday's episode. I think I should. Um Unfortunately, I don't have, unless I go back and look, I don't have any texts to back up what I would say. I only have phone calls, which I don't record. So, I can tell you just from what somebody just told me that they had a fight. Ryan thought everything was fine. She moved into a spare bedroom, and then they went and got her stuff. That's not what I was told. That's not what I was told. So I don't know. But I don't have any texts to back it up. Everything that I know was told to me over a phone call, which is still fucked up because it's from what I'm understanding, it's not what happened in the show. So, I think it's going to be interesting. However, I saw the clip of April's interview down in Florida, and I know her take. I know her take of the reason she was able to go and why she couldn't go to her court. I get it. She said that she can't drive. She didn't have, she didn't have the money to fly. She can't drive. Neither one of them can drive. Um, I get that. Um, but I can't imagine it's going to look well at court. Whether or not I seen the clip. Um, it was sent to me. I seen the clip. Her view is um this podcast paid for her to come down, fly down. They didn't have to, drive or whatever. Um and that was the reason that she couldn't go to Missouri is she would have had to drive, and neither one of them can drive apparently. Um I still don't know how much of that I necessarily believe. Sorry, not sorry. But I can't imagine, regardless, it's going to look good when I'm sure there's people watching her. I'm sure there is. And I'm sure it's going to get back that she couldn't make it to Missouri, but she could make it to Florida. And I'm sure she can try to explain to them, well, this was the situation. It wasn't the same situation. And maybe nothing will come of it. But I just can't imagine that it's. Yes, he's a door dasher. Maybe they can't drive long distances. I don't know. Hey, Leanne. I don't know. Like I said, I have my own views on it, and to me, some of it doesn't make sense. But I'm not there. I'm not the fly on the wall. I'm just saying, and what I try to get across is, look, if me, a random nobody, sees it this way, um, a random nobody at the court may see it that way, but that's for her to deal. That's for her to figure out. She's got it, tomorrow, and she's not going to find out almost. And to me, it is dumb to make somebody from out of state come, because the preliminary hearings are 5 minutes long. You put in guilty or not guilty, etc., whatever, and like it's essentially over. Like there's not really a whole lot to be had. I don't to me, I don't understand why you'd have to apply for Zoom to begin with. Because what, you expect somebody to, drive, 2 states away or whatever, however long it is, to essentially be in court for 10 minutes. Um, you know, um, I think that's wild. I think that with being out of state or whatever, they should allow Zoom meetings. Not everybody has the funds to drive or fly and get a hotel and, all that disaster. Um, I think it's asking a lot. And especially for a preliminary hearing. Um, well, they're letting her do essentially a Zoom meeting. They're letting her phone in, video in, or whatever. Um, I guess. So I'm sure tomorrow she'll be on wherever, updating everybody as to how it went. Um, I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of news, a lot of update, because like I said, preliminary hearings, you go in, you say guilty, not guilty, and you find out your next court date, which is, it's wild to me that there's a whole court date for that. I mean, but then again, if it's, local, I guess it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But, when you're, 2 states away, and it's like, come in for a 10-minute meeting. So I don't know what happened with the baby registry. I don't actually know. I've not been paying a whole lot of attention. Um, I've been watching stuff on the rally and how everybody thinks this side staged it, that side staged it. Something don't look right. The court requested her fingerprints, though. Okay. I'm not really sure what relevance that is. I guess I don't know. I don't know how that works. Maybe because it's a criminal thing. I don't know. Where's Pink Cat? I have no idea. Oh, her and Fancy split. Sarah's no longer with Fancy. Fancy's no longer with Sarah. I don't know where she went. Nor do I really care. That girl was a thorn in my side from the minute she came in. I can't deal with arrogant people. I just can't. And she just was extremely arrogant. So for me, it's like, I don't care. So supposedly, Colleen's doing her thing. I've heard mixed things there. She's involved. She isn't involved. I don't know. I don't think any of us know. I think that's always what's so frustrating with anybody and anything. We always get enough information to know something without knowing the rest. And it, like, of course it piques our curiosity because we know enough to be like, well, what else? And then we don't find out the what else. And it's like, then you're like, well, what's going on type deal. Um, or the game of telephone. It's always different by the time it gets to you, which I've never understood. It's not hard. If you say the word carrot, it should be carrot by the time it gets to you, but I don't know. Well, here's my thing, Kimberly. I've never agreed personally. This is just me. I've never agreed with Colleen being involved. As a medical professional, I don't think it's acceptable to use your knowledge and expertise to out someone else's what should be personal files. It's one thing to be consulted about them. It's one thing to be asked about them. It's another to go on public venues and speak on them, especially when the person is asking you not to do it at the behest of, I know I that never sat right with me. It never did. It never will. It's one thing to be consulted, okay, if they wanted to consult her and whatever, but to go on podcasts and have discussions, I don't think in my mind that that was ever an okay thing to do. And I don't know if she's realized that now or the heat's too much or whatever, but I don't think it was ever okay. I've never spoken to her really. She keeps checking my TikToks. She keeps I on the little accounts I have that I can still see profile views because you can't see them after 5,000 followers. She keeps checking my TikToks, and I don't know why I don't even use those TikToks. Look, the stories that I got told about the medical records, looking back now, I see why they were leaked. Oh, well, I mean, the Secret Service was not, there was a lot of things that were weird. Ryan Upchurch is Looney Tunes. Dead ass, he is Looney Tunes. You can tell by looking at him, his eyes are so dilated that he is in either a very um he's in either a very induced state or a very mentally unwell state. You can tell by looking at that man. I saw some videos of him and he is not well. So, I mean, I can, while I agree with that sentiment, I can get my information from somebody who does not look like they need committed. That is not where I will be getting my information. He does not look well at all. Look, he's never been my cup of tea to begin with, but I saw this video. He was beefing with yet another artist because I swear the only time I ever hear about him, to be honest, is he is taking pot shots and being off the wall at a creator of his choice of that week. That's part of the reason why I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. Not to mention I don't like his music, but they had compiled this thing and he just does not look well. Does not look well at all. Yeah, that's what he looks like. 100%. 100%. Um it's not against HIPAA because she was not entrusted with the records. So while it's morally and ethically wrong, I don't really know how it would be against the law. Because HIPAA is only by covered entities. Covered entities is like her doctor. Colleen is not her doctor, so it's not a HIPAA violation. It's unethical and it's not a good decision. But it's not technically breaking HIPAA. Please stop. It's not actually breaking anything because she wasn't she for legal reasonings, she's just another schmo that got her hands on them. She just happens to know a little bit more of what she's talking about. Looking back at, what I was told um, by multiple people about why the records were given out to begin with, I look back now and I realize that they expected people to be stupid. It's the only way that I can put it that is gonna sum it up easily. They expected people to be stupid. And they can say what they want to say and say that I don't know what I'm talking about or whatever, and that's fine. But I know what I was told about why the records, who had the records, why they had the records, how the records got out. It first of all, that was all planned. Okay, that was all planned. They were given to certain people. Certain people in that camp all had different agendas, and one of the people in there was given the agenda of dropping those medical records wherever so that people could see them and see all the things that Gypsy went through. I don't think anybody ever expected somebody to actually sit down, read them, and realize that there was reasons why these things happened. That, you just look and see, oh, there's a bunch of procedures, yada, yada, yada. And I don't think it was ever expected that anybody was ever going to actually put two and two together and realize, hey, you know what, this shit was probably needed. So this one is FAFO and the other one is Fate. And anybody can tell me that or say or whatever that that's not what fine. Have your story, I have mine. That's fine. I know what I was told by multiple people. That's why when people talk about, well, why does this person have the records? Why does that person have the records? I know why they all had the records, and I know what their agendas were with the records and what was supposed to be done. And the plan went accordingly. The job was done correctly. And until Fancy got up in arms and they started going through the records and really looking at them and saw that there was reason and causation for these things. I don't think that was ever a thought that was going to happen. I think that when they did what they do and leaked things, that they expected everybody to be dumb and to not actually be able to read them or anything, and that it would fit their narrative and show what they wanted the side of the story to be. And even people in complete psychosis can make sense on occasion. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you can look at him and he is doped out of his mind. And if he's not doped out of his mind, then he's having a mental break. You can tell by looking at his pupils. And as a person who has been manic, and as a person who has seen people on substances, his pupils are not okay. His eye structure is not okay. His agitation status is not okay. And he started off, I didn't care for him. I don't like his music. I can't stand the good old boy mentality. Okay, I don't like people like him and Kid Rock and Tom McDonald and all those people that are disgusting in the way that they put down people that they don't understand. But I didn't really have an opinion until I saw these videos of him very obviously in some type of distress. Because I don't want to say necessarily, as a person who doesn't know him, I don't want to say that he's on drugs, because I had that thrown at me when I was in a very heightened state of mania It was put out that I was high all the time because of my pupils. And I was just manic as hell. So, I don't want to put out there that he's on drugs, but he acts like it. He's either on drugs or he is mentally unwell. Eyes don't lie. Period. Eyes don't lie. It's a physical thing, and it's one or the other. And he sounds absolutely unhinged at times. Um, Yeah, I mean, there is a code of ethics. Like I said, what she's doing or what she's done is not ethical, but it's also not illegal because she is not covered by HIPAA. She was not the covered entity. If you look into HIPAA, people think that HIPAA is all this, oh my God, that's not what HIPAA is. HIPAA is covered entities only, which is her doctor. That's it. Her doctor, her people of trust, whatever. None of the Fancy did not break HIPAA laws. Colleen even hasn't broken HIPAA laws. HIPAA is not what people think it is. Much like the First Amendment is not what people think it is. You cannot just say whatever you want. You can be held liable for defamation and slander and libel and all the things above. When people get manic, their pupils dilate a lot, a lot. My pupils were always huge. My eyes were glassy. You can look up what a manic eye looks like, and it looks a lot like when you are on drugs. My eyes are always really glassy. Stop it! And the pupils were always really large. And that's also what happens when you are under the influence of uppers. Uppers do the same thing. Mania is a high. True mania is a high. Hypomania, great. You changed your hair, you cleaned your room, good for you. Mania is much more scary, and it is a high. Your body is on a high. You don't need to sleep. You think you're invincible. And it's completely different. You went down? Well, jump down the way you do. Maybe you can break a leg or five. Dum dum. That's completely different, Leanne. That has nothing to do with anything. That has nothing to do with anything. That's like saying, as this you have to do this, but it doesn't have anything to do with this over here. Yeah. So if you drive by and you don't stop, yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about right now. That's completely over here. That has nothing to do with over here. Nobody said she's an expert in a chromosome field. She's not speaking as an expert. She's never said she was an expert. She's not toting herself as something that she's not. She's not going on podcasts saying, I am a chromosome expert. This is what happened. And even if she was, the worst they're going to get her for is what? Lying. You know what? I'm a ringleader in a circus. And you can say whatever you want to say. It doesn't make it true or actual. No, Colleen didn't say she's an expert on the case that I'm aware of. Maybe I missed it. But she's never claimed to be an expert in anything. She just says, she uses her medical knowledge to explain these papers, I guess in layman's term. And I mean, she's not doing anything different than what other people are doing. If somebody else stumbled on these records, and there's been lives. There was a live recently, and I don't remember who it was or whatever. Somebody had told me about it. Somebody had also gotten a hold of these records, and they were using their medical knowledge to explain things that were going on. It's no different. It's no different at all. You know, what she's doing is not ethically okay in any way, shape, or form, but it's not illegal. She's not going to lose her license over discussing somebody's medical records. She's just not. He smokes a lot more than weed. And I can tell you this. He is either on high, he's either on coke or meth, or he is having a psychotic break. At least he was in the ones that I saw. Which maybe they may not be very recent, I don't know. But weed doesn't do that to you. Weed does not amp you up. In the videos that I saw, he is amped up and agitated. Weed chills you out. It is very obvious that he is on some type of mind altering substance or has having his mind altered. He's one of those good old boy singers. I have a huge problem with celebrities like that. I'm there is and well, I don't know why people are coming to his house. That's weird. I mean, I definitely, but those are look, I'm trying, me and you are real life friends. We've had this conversation in person. And I'm trying, I'm not in a really good, like, I'm like a little agitated about just things right now. So I'm trying. If you were anybody else, I would be laying into you. The videos that I saw, he is on meth or coke or in a psychotic break. I am telling you this. As a person who has been in a mental break, as a person who has seen somebody in the same coke rage when I had my life threatened by my brother, I am telling you, the videos that I saw, this is not up for discussion. What I saw. Now, if he's like that now, I couldn't tell you. I saw these 2 months ago, maybe, and I don't know how recent they were. But what I saw, I know what I saw. And I know you like him, and that's okay. I don't. I don't agree, and I don't agree with a lot of things. I don't like the good old boy mentality. I don't. It's disgusting, in my opinion. Matter of fact, there's a song that Tom MacDonald managed to capitalize on the Trump rally. He capitalized on that in, what was it, 12 hours? Good old boy Tom MacDonald, the Canadian. Yeah, the Canadian who's screaming about America, America, who's Canadian. And to read the comments, hey, oi! To read the comments in these videos turn my stomach on levels that I can't even, the amount of agitation, and I don't get in these comments for the most part because you cannot argue with ignorance. You cannot argue with hatred. You cannot argue with isms and phobias. You just can't. You just can't. And he put out this video, this song. He literally in 12 hours wrote it, produced it, whole nine, as a fuck you to everybody. And he put in there about the left can't aim, or the left whatever. He's so fucking tunnel visioned. The dude was registered as a fucking Republican. The shots came from inside the house, okay? But again, Tom MacDonald irritates me to no end because for somebody who half his music is talking about they try to divide us. Okay, that's the part, like there's one song of his, welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. That one I can actually get behind a little bit. I feel it a little bit. However, when I watch, there was a video right before this one. He's in red and blue and he's arguing with himself. And my problem with his music is half of his music is they're dividing us. They're telling us to look here, and they're dividing us. While then putting out music that is completely divisive. He literally in one breath says, we're all the same, don't let them divide us. And then he spews nothing but hatred and vile out of his mouth in the other half. This last one made me fucking sick. This last song was disgusting. And to read the comments in these videos, like I cannot explain to you, like, this is a topic that I'm going to get extremely heated over. So I'm trying to, ever since Trump took office, it has become okay and the norm to be horrible and hateful and bullies to people that you don't understand. It has been awful and disgusting. And ever since he came, ever since, you could feel the change in people, that it was acceptable to say the things you thought in your head that were disgusting and vile. Tom has nailed down and shot for, he is constantly he is the most transphobic piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. And I am disgusted with the comments of the people that support this nonsense. It's very simple. If you do not understand trans people, so what? Does it affect you? Does it keep you up at night? Does it affect you in any way? No. Shut the fuck up. It's that simple. He plays the poor white man, I'm so persecuted bullshit to a fucking T. He's persecuted. He's white. He's persecuted. He's Christian. Shut the fuck up. Shut the whole ass fuck up. No, you're being talked to like you are because you hate anybody who is different from you. You put down anybody who is different from you. This has fuck all to do if you were white or you were Christian or you were this or you were that. And to sit here and scream about proud America, you're not even from America, bro. You're Canadian. Shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down. It is so disgusting to me. And there's so many of these fucking hillbilly bumpkin fucking white good old boys that are like this, that it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Okay, so what? She researched it and studied it deeply. So what? So what? So what? She's not doing anything illegal. Do I agree with it? Hell no. She's not being ethical. She's being completely unethical. But she's not doing anything illegal. She's being an absolute asshole. What she's doing is not ethically okay. And for all we know, her job may have had to sit down with her and been like, hey, this doesn't look good for us. Knock it off. We don't know. Colleen has always been very quiet. She's very, we don't know. She may have been reprimanded but that's all she can be, is reprimanded. She can't be fired. She can whatever. She's not breaking any laws. You can do good things and still be an addict. You can do good things and still be mentally ill. I'm not sure why you are arguing with me on this. I'm not saying that he hasn't done good things. I'm saying that I am not going to take information from somebody who is, at least when I saw before, and he may have straightened out, I don't know. I'm not taking any information that looks like it is being spun as an immediate conspiracy theory because you look high as a fucking kite. Okay? The videos I saw were alarming, to put it mildly. Okay? Put it mildly. And there's so much information. Look, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I get it. But right now, I'm going for as much facts as I can get. And a lot of the stuff that more than likely, from what you're saying, I've seen that stuff from much more reputable sources. That's all. That's all. I've told you numerous times, I don't like him. I don't like the good old boy rhetoric. I don't. And I'm not going to say things on here that normally I would say because I value you as a friend. I don't think it's okay to make slurs at people. I don't think it's okay to use disgusting language at people. I don't think it's okay for a lot of things. And I don't like those kind of people. You know, I just seen a video literally today of Kid Rock who's like, fuck with Trump. You fuck with me. Who gives a fuck, you stupid bum fuck hillbilly? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nobody cares, bro. It's disgusting the way that they all are. It's disgusting. They all have Trump mentality. They all think it's perfectly okay to hate people that they don't understand. Don't understand them. That's fine. But you don't have to put them down because you don't understand them. I whole ass threw my father-in-law out my motherfucking house for things that he has said in my house. To my face, as an LGBTQ member, to my face, I said, cool, get the fuck out of my house. I don't play those games. I'm not having it. You cannot sit there and whether or not you understand it, whether or not you disagree with it, cool, fine. Keep that shit locked away somewhere because one of these days, one of these stupid bumfuck hillbillies is going to cause the death of one of their family members. Straight ass. Because I'm going to tell you that if one of these bumfuck hillbilly artists have a child that is somewhere in the LGBTQ spectrum, they're not going to feel comfortable coming out to their dad. And we've all seen what happens with closeted people eventually who live in that closet and they never get out. They die in there. Because people make it impossible for people to be who they are. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. That's fine. But when those words leave your lips, they hit somebody, and it could be somebody you care about, and you'll never know because they'll never tell you. I, on the other hand, I will tell you. I ain't got a problem with it. I've thrown my husband's father out my fucking house. Made a slur towards gays. I said, you really? 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 Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my house. You are not going to disrespect a whole spectrum of people, including the person you are staring at. Get out of my house. Period. That was not the only occasion. I also had to get on him about being a racist. I can't. Look, you don't have to like people. You don't have to like them. You don't have to understand them. You don't have to nothing. But Jesus Christ, ever since Trump took office, it is perfectly acceptable. Well, I can say what I want. Freedom of speech. Read the First Amendment. Because it's not what you think it is, number one. But number two, no matter what you can say, it's whether you should say it. It's whether you should say it. It's whether or not it's going to hurt somebody that is close to you. You can say things all day long. Doesn't make them right. Doesn't make them okay. And in the process, you just look like an ignorant bigot. Did he apologize? We don't speak to him anymore. He's part of the reason we changed our last name. Part of it. A lot of it had to do with Ember. A lot of it had to do with my name being everywhere. Although you can find that shit out probably. I'm sure my name will be found out at some point. We got it. I did it to get away from Ember. And my husband had absolutely had it with his father at that point. This was just a long line. This was just another thing he did. He did the whole gay thing 10 years ago. He did the racist thing a few years ago. And he did this last thing, and my husband was done. He has not talked to his dad since February, probably. When his dad had sat here this entire time watching the things that Ember did to this family. Was my husband was in my husband's corner 150%. 150%. Said that he saw everything, he understood everything, he backed his son 100%. And then Ember makes some stupid lying ass video, and there he is commenting on it. And then has the audacity to tell my husband that he would have done the same thing. He's like, you would have literally wanted to kill. Because do you understand what it was that she did? Do you understand? This wasn't a child rebelling against her parents. She went to jail for wanting to kill my wife. Do you understand that? She went to jail for wanting to kill my wife. And you're saying that you understand that? Goodbye. And after that man had sat on the phone with my husband for I don't know how many phone calls, backing my husband, and then tells my husband that my husband and I are the reason he doesn't have a granddaughter, which, by the way, the man had seen maybe 3 times in her life. Because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He never cared. He never cared. It's not in his purview to care. So he never had a relationship with her to begin with. There's one picture of them together ever. One picture, because I took it. And then he blamed me, mostly me, but him as well, that's the reason he doesn't have a granddaughter. And he goes, well, you're the reason you don't have a son. So, honey, you need to watch my whole abuse. You need to watch my whole abuse playlist. So, blamed me for everything. And that was just in a long line of things that he had done and blamed us for. So, it's on my TikTok. So we were done. And I can't, my brother he's a Kid Rock impersonator. He was at some point. I don't know if he still is. I haven't talked to him in 20 years. And he thinks the same way. He is disgusting. He's the one who told me that I personally, little old me, caused Katrina. Just me. I caused Katrina because of my vile non-Christian ways. Mind you, after giving me this diatribe about how unchristian I was, when we went to go to the church to sign the paperwork for my dad's wake, I will never forget this. It is etched in my fucking memory. He wore a strip club jacket into a church promoting a strip club. But let me tell you about how Christian you are. And Katrina the hurricane, yes. I caused it. I summoned its powers with my witchy ways. Because I asked him to come to my wedding, which we were having a pagan festival. This is before what we were going to do originally was me and my husband were going to have a hand fasting and not be legally married. And I realized how much I did not like my family, both sides, when I offered people to come to my wedding and I had a cousin get up and walk away, one roll her eyes, and my brother told me that I caused Katrina. I realized at that moment the absolute close-minded, disgusting, tunnel vision Christians that I was around. And then to add insult to injury, that same cousin who had got up and walked away called me and preached Jesus to me for an hour on the phone. So it's not enough to absolutely disregard my religious beliefs entirely, put them down entirely, but then preach your God to me like you have a right to tell me that what I think is wrong. Now, mind you, if shoe was on the other foot, and this is the problem I have with proselytizing, I understand as a Christian value that they are to spread the word. Okay. I get that. That's part of their whole shtick. We want to save as many people as possible. Okay. One of the reasons I love my religion is it literally has a rule of don't proselytize. It will find you if it's meant to find you. And what I would never do is I would never call a family member that I know is very heavy into their religion, tell them that their God is shit. If they believe in him, they're shit. And they need to change their ways and believe how I believe, or they're going to hell. I am an omnist Wiccan. So I'm an omnist in the fact that I take from every religion, including some from Christianity. Okay? Because Christianity itself isn't the problem, it's its followers. I've said this a million times. Don't have a problem with Christianity, I have a problem with the followers. I take from all sorts of religions. Buddhism, Wicca, Christian, Hindu, Judaism, all of it. Okay. But I have been a practicing Wiccan for 22 years, approximately 22, 23 years. And the amount of stigma that comes with that, and the people who don't even attempt to even educate themselves on it is frustrating. That they assume that everybody is devil worshippers. We don't even believe in the devil. I actually do belong to the Satanic Temple though, because it's not a religion. Again, people don't look into it. People are willfully ignorant. They've been told their entire life, this is the way, this is the only way, and everything else is wrong. And instead of just blindly, there's a reason in my, they talk about I've always looked at it this way. They've always talked about Jesus is a shepherd and you are his flock and his sheep. You're right. You are sheep. You blindly listen to anything and everything and follow right along and don't even ask any questions. And that's frustrating. I will tell you right now, I will tell you a Christian I have no problems with. Although I did have one conversation with her. But there's a Christian that I have no problem with, and that is his grandmother. I'm gonna tell you why. Does she send religious cards? Yes. Does she try to push the Bible? Yes. Does she do all the proselytizing that I hate? Yes. But that woman lives her word. There's the difference. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. His grandmother lives the word. So when she tries to share her word, it's genuine. It goes in one ear, not the other. But I respect her because she walks the word, she preaches the word, she teaches the word. And I respect her for that. Don't agree with her, but I respect her. Okay. My father-in-law, the same one that I kicked out of my house for being homophobic, the same one I had a conversation with for being racist, did not want me and my husband living together, living in sin. Even though at the time, my husband, I've made no bones about this, you guys know this. My husband could not keep a job. I was keeping the roof over our head. Okay. My husband was a fuckstick kid in the beginning. He couldn't settle down. He couldn't find a thing that he was good at and he wanted to do. And so he had 27 jobs before he was a trucker. And he says, you can't live together because you're not married. Okay. This was a man who was not faithful to his wife. This was a man who was married to his next wife 6 months after the ink was dry on the divorce. This was a man who moved his third wife in within X amount of months, super quick, and got married to her super quick because apparently at that point, maybe he felt bad that he was having so much sex out of marriage. I'm not sure. But my problem is when someone who does not walk, talk, and breathe a religion shoves it down my throat. Okay. So whereas I may not agree with my grandmother, his grandmother, I respect her. I do not respect my husband's father. I do not respect my brother because when you are in a coke-addled rage, you don't take care of your kids. You are a fucking complete psycho. And then you preach the word to God and shove it down my throat and tell me that I have caused Katrina and I'm going to hell while you wear a stripper jacket in a church. I can't stand Sunday Christians. That's my problem. I don't have a problem with Christianity. I don't have a problem with true believers. I have a problem with Sunday Christians. That's where my problem lies. A sriracha ad, nice. People always think that I'm anti-Christian. I'm not. The religion itself ain't bad. It's the fucking followers. And then on top of that, believe me or don't, fucking Google it. The MAGAs have made a fictional entity Republican Jesus. They have taken Jesus, a cool, chill man who believed in love everybody, heal the weak, feed the needy, walked with the prostitutes, took Jesus, a great man, and made him into this disgusting, hates gays, takes welfare and food stamps from kids, all this disgusting entity. and say that it's all in Jesus's name. It's in Republican Jesus's name. Jesus himself was a great guy. Okay. I had no problems with Jesus. Do I believe he was the Son of God? No. But do I believe that he was a prophet of sorts? Do I believe that he was a excellent man? Do I believe that people should strive to be like Jesus was? Yes. He walked with the prostitutes. He healed the sick. He fed the needy. He accepted people. Okay. I got no problem there. I got problems with the bastardization of Jesus into Republican Jesus. You cannot claim to be Christian and want to cut Medicaid, cut WIC, to take the food out of the mouth of the babies that you make be here. You won't let women have bodily autonomy. You make us have children that we can't afford. And then as soon as they're topside, fuck you. You can't have any help with it either. Have that child. Have fun feeding it. We ain't doing it. That's my problem. That's my problem. That's my problem. The right has gotten to the point where they have literally taken Jesus and bastardized. They have turned Jesus into anti-Jesus. They have turned Jesus into everything that man did not ever want to be associated with. If Jesus were to come back today, this is my belief. If Jesus was to come back today and see the mega churches, he would be disgusted, because in the Bible it says to be humble, to even have only a few people when you are that God is a relationship that you have personally, or that you do in a small group of people. He would be abhorred at the mega churches. That is a fact. Read your Bible. That is a fact. People always tell me, you know what? You need to read a Bible. I did. That's my problem. That's my problem. I read it, and I don't think a lot of Christians have. Because if they did, they wouldn't act the way they act. They wouldn't act the way they act. There is a great one. Did you guys see the you are missing my point entirely yet again. What bothers me about you, child of God, is you hear portions, but you don't hear the whole statement. Jesus is still Jesus, okay? The people over here are bastardizing him and using hate in his name. Jesus would be abhorred at what his name, the wars that his name has been fought in, the people who have died from his name. Jesus would walk with the gay people. Because in that Bible that has been translated umpteen times, until King James got his hands on it, that line about thou shalt not lie with man was talking about P3DOs. It was never meant to be about gay people. It was about P3DOs. Go back to original versions of it, okay? King James, a man not of God, just simply a king in name, has a whole Bible devoted, the King James version, that a lot of people go by. King James took two passages, transcribed them incorrectly, and caused a fucking death toll that is unimaginable. I don't know if you know this. A lot of people don't. So I'm going to educate at least 3 people in here. Thou shalt not lay with man as man. It was talking about P3DOs, number one, not gay people. That's the only time you ever even see anything remotely about being gay in there, by the way. Okay? King James had a hand in that. You know what else King James had a hand in? Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Do you know what the original transcribe is? Thou shalt not suffer a poisoner to live. A poisoner. Okay, I'm getting onto that. The Malfarius Malfactum. Yes, I'm getting onto that. King James was so tunnel visioned into witchcraft that he changed the passage, thou shalt not suffer a poisoner to live, into thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, had a hand in the demonology book and the witch hunter's Bible that then caused mass hysteria that caused the death of hundreds of women and few men in England. And then it came here where it killed 33 people in Salem, Massachusetts, 32 women and one man, because of the King James interpretation. What, the cities of sin, the Tower of Babel, everybody that was doing all this crazy stuff? Jesus was turning water into wine, dude. And most of what they're talking about is people that were whoring around in general, straight people included. That there was so much sinning going on and so much this and so much that because there was 3 PDOs, because there was whores and prostitutes, which Jesus walked with. The Bible, because it was fed to us by the Vatican. Okay. The Vatican has dozens of books in their files, and they hand chose. You can Google all of this, okay? This will take you 5 minutes if you don't believe me. The Vatican has numerous books that they did not put out in the Bible because they did not deem them relevant. They chose and picked which books to put in the Bible, ones that fit their narrative. They left entire books out, entire passages out. The book of Enoch, the book of Thomas, and the one that I can't remember right now, the Acromenon. Any other day I could remember it, but I can't right now. They hand chose which ones were relevant, even though they were all written by men of God. Put it in a book that contradicts itself. There was actually a I couldn't find it now if I had to, and I don't even know if it still exists. But it showed you could put in a term, and it would show where all the contradictions in the Bible were on things like marriage or whatever. And the book is filled with contradictions because it's done by a bunch of different people. And the Vatican chose which books to put in there. Hold on. Not the Apostles. Hold on. Apocrypha. Apocrypha? Was it the Apocrypha? Hold on. Hold on. Apocrypha. Thank you. That's what it was. The Apocrypha. Okay, so there's 14 books left out of the Bible. 14. Okay, that they just decided, nah, that doesn't fit us. We're good. So they left out the book of Enoch, which is huge, by the way. The Protevangelion, the gospel of the infancy of Jesus Christ. They left that out. They left out the gospel of infancy of Jesus Christ. They left out the infancy gospel of Thomas. They left out the book of Jesus Christ. They left out the gospel of Nicodemus, which is the Acts of Pilate, the Apostles' Creed, the epistle of Paul the Apostle to the Laodiceans, the epistles of Paul to the apostle of Seneca and Seneca's to Paul. They left out the Acts of Paul and Thalca. They left out the apostles of the Clement. They left out the apostle of Barnabas. They left out the apostle of Ignatius to the Ephesians. They left out the apostle of the Ignatius to the Magnesians. They left out the apostle of Ignatius to the Trallians. The apostle of Ignatius to the Romans. They didn't like Ignatius, by the way. Apostle of Ignatius to the Philadelphians. Apostle of Ignatius to the Cimmerians. Apostle of Ignatius to Polycarp. The shepherd of Hermas, which was visions, commands, and similitudes, the letter of Herod to Pilate the governor, the letter of Pilate to Herod, the lost gospel of Peter, the apostle of Polycarp to the Philippians, and the history of Susanna. They left out the contents of the forgotten books of Eden, the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan, the second book of Adam and Eve, first and second book, the secrets of Enoch, the Psalms of Solomon, the Odes of Solomon, the letter of the Orestes, the fourth book of Maccabees, the story of Hikar, and the testaments of the 12 patriarchs. They left all that out. They left all that out because they chose what they wanted in there. And then they let King James get his dirty little hands on it. I read it to you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know exactly what books they all were. I don't keep that shit locked up in my head. I am telling you what they are. Okay. In the books of Apocrypha. Okay. Maybe we'll get to that. In the books of Apocrypha. By the way, I cannot pronounce some of these names. Esdras 1 and Esdras 2. Tobit. Judith. Additions to Esther. Wisdom of Solomon. Sirach. Baruch. Letter of Jeremiah, the Song of the Three Children, Story of Susanna, the Idol of Bel and the Dragon, Additions to Daniel, Prayer of Manasseh, Maccabees 1, Maccabees 2, the books of Pseudepigraphia, the Apostle of Barnabas, Maccabees 3 and 4, the Assumption of Moses, the Testament of Moses, Book of Enoch, Book of Jubilees, Psalms of Solomon, Letter of Aristeas, the Odes of Solomon, the Testaments of the 12 Patriarchs, 2 Baruch, 3 Baruch, the first and second apostle of Clement to the Corinthians, the letter of the Cimmerians, known as the Martyrdom of the Polycarp, the shepherds of the Hermas, the Gospel of Judas, the Gospel of Thomas, the books of Adam and Eve, the Acts of Philip, the Apocalypse of Peter, the Gospel of Nativity of Mary, the Gospel of Nicodemus, the Gospel of the Savior's infancy, the history of Joseph the carpenter, the Acts of Paul, including Paul and Thecla, and the 7 apostles of Ignatius and the apostle Polycarp to the Philippians. Okay, so what they did was they brought Jesus Christ and they killed Jesus Christ, but they left out the infancy and the whole history of the carpenter. Okay, they picked and they chose. And they have all these books in the Vatican in a vault. The vault is wild if you've ever seen it. It is wild. The books that they have in there that they don't deem correct for human consumption. Yes, you can read those books right now out of the Bible. You can read the book of Enoch out of the Bible. They're not in the Bible. People do not know that they were in the Bible because they were not deemed relevant enough to be in the Bible. And then you go through and you play this really weird game of telephone where it was taken from, Aramaic to Latin to Greek to this to that to English, and things get lost in translation along the way. Or you have people like King James that are just like, hey, you know what? I'm king. I can do what I want. Do you know? Fun fact about King James. Did you know this? King James is the reason why women deliver babies the way they do. Did you know that? I'm going to really blow your minds with how sick this motherfucker is. The reason women give birth on their backs, fighting science, is because of King James. Up until X amount, you can Google this, up until X amount a year or whatever, there was a thing called a birthing chair. Kind of like when you take a shit and you should have your knees up. There was a thing called a birthing chair. And with science, as you sit, your muscles contract, it pushes the baby down and out, and they would catch it. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. Use your muscles, squat, use gravity, squat, push the baby out. No. King James liked looking at hoo-has. So it was easier for him to get that view if we laid on our backs. You can Google that shit. King James changed the way women give birth for his own sick, twisted fantasies. The same man who changed portions of the Bible because he was on a power trip. You can Google it. So when people want to use the King James Bible to spit at me, it's going in one ear and out the other. And the funniest part is if you look at different sentiments in religion, which I need to do a whole freaking live on this, to be honest, because where's he at? I did videos on this on my page. I'm gonna just sum this up. I'm gonna try to do another live on this another day, but Jesus Christ is the newest Christ energy that has happened. Do you have any idea how many sons of God died and rose in 3 days, had a virgin mother? You have any idea? Because there's a lot. There's a lot. I had a whole list. I've done videos on it way down on my page. Way down. And I probably would not be able to find the, hold on, let's see. All right. Just to give you an idea. Let's see. All right. Here we go. Osiris, an Egyptian, Ethiopian, Sudanese god. He was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 5,000 years before Jesus. Horus, an Egyptian, Ethiopian, Sudanese god. He was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 3,000 years before Jesus. Buddha, an Indian god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 600 years before Jesus. Krishna, an Indian god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 900 years before Jesus. Zarathustra, an Iranian god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 1,000 years before Jesus. Hercules, a Greek god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 800 years before Jesus. Mithra, an Iranian god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 600 years before Jesus. Dicyanus, a Greek god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 500 years before Jesus. Themos, a Babylonian god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 2,000 years before Jesus. Hermes, a Greek god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 200 years before Jesus. Adonis, a Phoenician god, was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 200 years before Jesus. And Jesus Christ, a Roman god, who was said to have been crucified, died, and resurrected 130 AD. And that doesn't even tell you how many of them had virgin births, by the way. Lots of them also had virgin mothers. It is a thing that has been recycled throughout time, and they call it in some circles, they call it the Christ energy. It happens time and time and time again. This is not the first. He's not special. This is why I believe that Jesus Christ in and of himself was a great man. Do I believe he was a son of God? No, I do not. This has happened throughout history. You can Google this shit. It's free. Here you go. Here's one right here. Looked it up. How long did it take me? 10 seconds? There's a million of them. That's just page 1. That's just page 1. Let's see. Okay, here we go. List of gods born by a virgin on the 25th of December. Ready? Here we go. Horus, Familiar? 3,000 years before Jesus. Buddha, we heard him before, 563 years before Jesus. Krishna, this is starting to sound really familiar. Zarathustra, that's number 4. Hercules, 5. Mithra, 6. Dionysus, he was not resurrected, I don't think. Thammuz, oh no, yeah, he was. Thammuz, Hermes, Adonis, and Jesus Christ. Every single one of them had a virgin mother. Every single one of them was died and resurrected after 3 days. Every single one of them. Okay, child of God, I am not doing this with you again. Where in there ever, where in there ever did I say that? Ever at all? Ever at all? Where did I ever say that? Ever. In the history of ever, where did I say that? Matter of fact, I said in numerous portions throughout this live that I don't hate people for believing what they believe. And every single time I have a conversation about God, you turn this into something ugly and say that I hate you because you believe in God. See? How am I smashing your beliefs? I am proving to you that it has happened time and time again. That is not smashing your beliefs. I'm sorry if I just burst your bubble that your God was special in this. I just proved to you that a dozen gods have done this. This isn't smashing your beliefs. This is showing you that over time in history, there's been a precedence and a plethora of other gods that have had this happen. This isn't smashing your beliefs. This is fact. This has nothing to do with smashing your beliefs. You are choosing, Tom McDonald, to be persecuted when that is not even remotely what I am saying nor doing. And as you can read from other people in this chat, which are saying flat out, I am not saying any of that. Are you upset that I just showed proof? That's a you problem, not a me problem, honey. It's happened throughout history. This is not something new. This is something that has happened over thousands and thousands of years, spanning at least 5,000 years. At least. They only go back 5,000 years in these lists. Man has been around longer than 5,000 years. And in 5,000 years, they have had a dozen Christ energies. This is a history lesson. This is a religious lesson. This is something, this has nothing to do with my thoughts or facts. This is me telling you this has happened throughout history. I should listen to myself. Everybody else is listening to me just fine. I'm sorry that you are losing it somewhere. Everybody else is getting me just fine. Again, this is a you problem, not a me problem. I'm sorry that you don't want to hear what is historically proven. That's not my problem. This is the problem. See, and this is a good example, actually. When you show proof to a person who is so dead set, tunnel vision on what they believe is right, they refuse to believe the truth because it's been ingrained in them that they cannot. I don't hold it against them. This is something I see time and time again. The minute that you challenge, the minute that you say, but look, here's something that says maybe this isn't right or maybe this isn't accurate, suddenly they're persecuted. This is exactly what Tom McDonald does. Christians are persecuted. No, we tell you things about that and you don't want to hear it. Right. Every religion thinks that their religion is top dog. Every religion has fanatics. Every religion has fanatics, not just Christianity, not just Muslim. Every religion has fanatics. Every religion believes that it's the only true religion, that their God is the only God, as I showed you on here. Every religion does it. See, that's where my omnism comes in, Randella. Because do I believe that at some source, look, if a story gets handed down time and time again, It probably did happen somewhere. It probably did happen somewhere. Or maybe it continues to happen. Maybe it continues to happen. Maybe it's something that recycles itself. Now, I have an issue with the fact of the time frame because a lot of them were pretty close and they were happening pretty much at the same time even. There was 2 or 3 of them that happened at the same time. But to believe that your religion is the only one that has done it, it's not. It's not. That's a fact. This is not me trying to sway anybody to not be Christian. This is me just saying that over here there is Ethiopian, Nepal, Indian, Iranian, Greek, Persian, Greek, Babylonian, Greek, Phoenician, and Roman. I know. I love when I'm told I said things I never said. Somewhere in there, I'm sure something ish happened. Maybe, but it didn't happen one singular time. It happened a plethora of times. Let's see. There is some of the articles on here is the world's 16 crucified saviors, Christianity before Christ. I mean, there is 101 myths of the Bible, how ancient scribes invented biblical. You know, hell wasn't even put in the Bible until like the 1600s, technically. They talked about fire and brimstone and all that, but not to mention, by the way, why? Okay, so here's another thing to help you out, by the way. This is gonna be another thing that you might know, you might not know. I don't know. Christmas. Okay. December 25th. Jesus' birthday, as they always say. Although we know now he was born in March. Okay. He was born in spring somewhere. It was actually, and you can go back to this was during the time of Constantine. There was a sun god, Mithras, and there was a pagan. And they wanted to make it not pagan. So they chose December 25th to get rid of the Mithras celebration and chose to say that that's where God was born. But we know that Jesus was born sometime in spring. Even the Christian church can't decide. They have 50 freaking denominations. Exactly. Yoda's fine. She's sleeping. Ah! It just took me to a book. I don't want a book, but go back. I can't even. Great. Now I lost my page. Perfect. Look, when presented with evidence that makes you rethink everything that you've been told, it's unsettling to a person. My husband grew up very, 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 very Christian. Church on Sundays, Bible study on Wednesdays, yada yada, right? When I told him I was a Wiccan, I was 19 years old, and my husband lost his mind. Lost it. Now, I think he's worse than I am. Because after having conversations, seeing things, being shown a different view, the problem is we're grass fed. From the time when you are literally from the time, if you are brought up in a religious family, you are told from the time you could walk, talk, and babble. You get brought to church, you get brought to Bible study, you get brought to Sunday school, yada, 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 yada. And it is ingrained in you from the floor up. You are not told any different. And that is what you cling to. And being confronted with an uncomfortable truth upsets people. That's why it's like, child of God can be mad. That's okay. That's okay. Okay. Nowhere in there ever did I say that I hated them. Nowhere in there ever did I say that I don't like them because of their beliefs. I've said a million times during this live, Christianity is not my problem. It's its followers, the rabid followers, the Sunday Christians. I did not call them a Sunday Christian. Yes, lots of racists claim to be Christian. Mm-hmm. Ku Klux Klan. But those are our fanatics. The Christian fanatics. The Ku Klux Klan is a Christian fanatic, much like the bombers in Islam. The whole Muslim religion actually can be very beautiful, but you have fanatics. I live in Kentucky. Of course, there's KKK where I live. Actually, to be honest, weirdly enough, there was more KKK that I was aware of up by Detroit. But you have to understand that makes sense because we had Dearborn. Dearborn, Michigan has the highest rate of Muslim people. When you go to Dearborn, Michigan, and you get real deep into the east side, there is street signs in a different language. That's how it's a whole nother world. I went down there by accident and I got lost. I got lost and I got in there and there was street signs that were in Arabic. So it makes sense that there is a high incidence of KKK in Lincoln Park, essentially. More than anything, Lincoln Park and Allen Park have a lot of KKK. My ex actually showed me different KKK houses, and as we drove by, you would see the big flag and the skinheads and all that. Down here, I'm sure they have it. I've not seen it with my own two eyes. I'm sure it's here. I live in the South. I simply wanted to educate people because here's the thing. We aren't taught these things. These are things I found out on my own. I was never told about all these other crucified gods. I was never told about any of that. Much like some of you weren't. I'm sure there's at least 3 people in here that didn't have a fuck all clue about anything that I was talking about until I said it. It's an uncomfortable truth for people who have never been faced with it before. But I'm not going to let somebody tell me that I'm saying things I'm not either. Oi! Yodi! Yoda Brennan! Yoda Brennan! Sissy Noodles! Sissy Noodles! Yoda Brennan! Wrong seat! Knock it off. Yeah, there's been a lot of virgin births. The same ones. Every one that was dead and resurrected in 3 days also had a virgin mother. It's a thing that has happened through millennia. I'm not saying it makes anything right, wrong, or otherwise. I'm just saying it's something that has been rinsed and repeated throughout time. Now, does that mean that there is some semblance of truth to it? Very possibly. Very possibly. But it's not something new. It's something that has happened throughout time. What's it? What? Who? King James? The guy who wrote the Bible? Oh, he was a disgusting person. Read up on King James. But I will never understand why they allowed a king to rewrite a Bible or put his hands on the Bible or whatever. I will never understand that. He is simply a king. He is not a prophet. He had never claimed to be a prophet. He had never claimed to have spoken to God. And somehow he got his little mitts all over it. I had done, like I said, you'd have to scroll way back before the gypsy stuff on used Socratic, because that account originally was for things like that. And one day I went down a gypsy rabbit hole and I was snowed in, and I made like 70 videos. Yeah. Well, he had look. He wrote the Daemonology book. I can't remember offhand if he did the Malfactum. And I could never spell it right. My God. So there's the Demonology book, spelled very strange, by the way. And yeah, so the Daemonology book is the book that endorses the practice of witch hunting. This book is believed to be one of the main sources used by William Shakespeare in the production of Macbeth. There is a book that goes along with it. Malleus Maleficium. I can't pronounce it for the life of me. Real life vampires, huh? Malleus Maleficium. Hammer of Witches. The Malleus Maleficium and King James defining witchcraft. There's a PDF. I learned something today. There's a PDF. The Malleus claims that women are more susceptible to demonic possession due to their lack of physical and spiritual strength. By the way, the same thing for hysteria. By the way, do you know how you treat hysteria in women? When women used to get put into the loony bin for hysteria, hormones, because yeah. Do you want to know how you cured hysteria? By the way, here's one for you, Tills. Do you want to know how to cure hysteria in women when they would put them in the psych ward? Take a guess. The reason I hate men so much, King James decided he wanted to be a naughty boy, and look at us while we lay down. Hysteria, back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, in the loony bins, you would masturbate a woman to climax, and that would help her with her hysteria. Look it up. Look it up. That was treatment. That was how they were treated. Or a lobotomy, right here. Or they'd get a lobotomy. Yep. Oh, no, he didn't cause that. He didn't cause that. No, I'm just saying in general. Men in science. Yeah, that was women were hormonal and whipped into a frenzy of hysteria. And the best way to cure hysteria Yeah, the doctors didn't want to do it. So they made a device that you can buy on Amazon. The amount of weird shit in my head is wild. The amount of weird shit that stays rent free in my head is wild. Yeah. Thank the Lord we found the cure to hysteria. But women should never do that on their own because women were never supposed to enjoy sex. Just so you know, women were never meant to enjoy sex. It was strictly for childbearing. If your woman enjoyed it, she was a harlot and a whore. Just so you know. Nothing has ever made sense to me my entire life. Nothing has ever made sense to me. Yeah, right. It's about keeping, honey, I'm feeling a little hysterical. Yeah. The shit that lives rent free in my head is it's not for the weak. I can tell you that. When I say that I would go to the library and read reference books, I was not kidding. I like to read things to learn things. I like to read things. Speaking of the Clutterbug, where is he? Oh, he tells me today he wants to get this bed off of Temu with like drawers. I think it's gonna be a good thing for him. He's got to save up for it though. It's not bad. The price really isn't that bad. Of course, he wants one that lights up. Why wouldn't he? He has this thing with light ups. He likes to light things up. He loves LEDs. But overall, I think it'd be a good idea. Now, he's got to be closer than that. There ain't no way. I feel like maybe he hit traffic or something, or time is going extremely slow. I mean, time could be going extremely slow. I have no idea. Hey, so I'm online by the way. I was just looking at Life 360, and did you get hit in any traffic or anything?
No, I'm almost to Jellicoe.
This whole fucking thing has been a freaking nightmare.
I'm
Okay.
at the 144.
Okay. Because it's showing you barely out of Knoxville again. Okay. All right. I was like, why he should be closer than this. Okay, cool. All right. Well, just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, love you, bye.
Bye. I didn't zoom in real well though. Let me see. Well, I mean, it's tracking him. I mean, I guess you could say he's almost a Jellicoe, kind of. Yeah. Well, it'll still be about an hour. He still has to, drop his trailer, do his paperwork, et cetera, et cetera. So, but yeah, I just like to spread information. I had to take a video down. I saw actually. I took a video down off of it had 20,000 views overnight, and I had to take it down. There was just some stuff in there that was not accurate, and I'm not leaving that up, even if it is getting a high amount of views. So I stitched it and then I privated it. And then the hey, I screwed this video up didn't get very many views, but hey. Whatever. I don't want to put out, bad information. Ugh. Oh. But anyways, this has been a wild ride of a life, right? Peppy Rooney's. Peppy Rooney's. Rooney Peppies. Ouch. That was rude. That was rude, ma'am. Wasn't paying her enough attention. She took her nails like. Yeah, I'd rather make sure that I put out correct things, even if I gotta take down something that's got some views on it. But I think we've been on here for 2 hours, so she wants attention 24/7. I think I'm gonna go play my game for a little bit before he gets home. So thank you for staying with me and not being offended for merely giving you some facts. So I will talk to you lovelies later. Bye.